the last drop. Are you gonna blow your head off? Take good aim and don't forget to duck. Life sucks every Monday and all the way to Sunday, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't care how you're doing, what's up or how's it hanging. I'd like to buy this world one last drink. And life sucks all of the time, so stick it up your sunshine, and then you'll see the clouds every day. And then you'll see the clouds every day. And then you'll see the clouds every day.
Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of The Crazy Life. I'm Brian. Joining me as always is Henno.
Hey everybody.
We're back again.
We are. Had to go on a vacation.
Yeah, I heard.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was cool.
All right. Well, there you go. We'll talk to you next time. No. Credits.
Late.
Yep.
There's a YouTube guy, and I'm just gonna say he's white.
Okay.
And at the end of his videos, he goes, "And I'm out," and I'm like, "Oh God, stop! Just stop doing that."
Did you ever see
Stop.
on the state?
And I'm out.
There was a character on the state. I think his name was Dougie or something like that, and he used to do the "I am out of here" or whatever. Like somebody would say the just a random something, and he'd get like offended basically, and then be like, "Well, if that's how you feel, I am out," and everyone's like, "No, Dougie, you got to stay." That was the whole bit. Is he would just keep saying it. So you said that, it just reminded me of that. Like,
And since I'm going with the full race card right now,
yeah,
I'm just firing up.
Yeah,
I went to Salt Lake City last night to see Corey Wong.
Okay.
And I didn't know what Corey's middle name was until I got back to the room and I was looking some stuff up.
Okay.
And you'd think that somebody by the name of, with the last name of Wong might, look to be a certain way.
Yeah.
But then you realize that, Corey grew up in Minneapolis, and so his band is it's very it's Prince funk. I mean, it's just incredible.
Okay.
Amazing stuff. And he plays in a bunch of different funk bands and all this stuff. But his middle name is Juen, Juen.
Okay.
So Corey Juen Wong. He is as white as you get. The man is, you don't get much more Caucasian. He even has no chin.
Wow.
He is so Caucasian. It is funny because he plays some of the, his music has got some of the sickest grooves. I want to call them greasy grooves.
Right.
There was times last night where I'm like, holy wow.
Right.
I mean, he had Prince's horn section, incredible bass player. But the best part was that audience, once again, there was a lot of Caucasians in that audience.
Yeah.
That was 1,200 white people.
Wow.
I mean, it was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a wonderful show. I had a great time. It's a 5-hour drive roughly to get to Salt Lake City, 4.5, whatever it is. So it's a trek.
Yeah.
But so worth it, because I always, I need to remember, and granted, certain genres of music are more like this than others, but I needed that feeling of where music feels good.
Yes.
And a group of people in the same room together feels good.
Yeah.
And the artist on stage doing something to give back to the community. They're giving a guitar away in every community they go to some, some kid in like a high school who's whatever. He's using the school's guitar.
Okay. Yeah.
And so they brought the guy on stage and gave him his guitar.
Oh, that's cool.
You
I
know,
love that.
I mean, it was so moving. Yeah. And like he said, like all the shows are, like the cost of the show goes this, and the prices of his shows are reasonable, which is a miracle these days.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there are two singers. One of them got up there and he prefaced it by saying, "This is a song that's never been released. And I want to do it for you tonight." And I'm gonna forget the exact wording, but it's like it's basically like, "Look where we are."
Okay.
Like where are we today?
Right.
And then it goes into peace and love and blah 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 and all this, and where are we today? Where are you? Look where we are.
Yeah.
And it was such a moving song that by the end, the entire crowd was like, "Release the song, release the song." like, dude, go back and record. And this dude, when he started singing, he just had that soulful voice. I mean, just beautiful, soulful voice. And then all of a sudden starts going for some high notes. And you're like,
oh,
okay, wow. Like, what just happened?
Right.
Like, incredible voice. But it just felt so good. And I was like, and then driving home, I had to take a pit stop up by Idaho Falls, which, I mean, it was a long day of driving today.
Yeah.
But it was so worth it. It was so worth it to just be in a room full of people that are just enjoying music, dancing. Because every you don't even need to know the songs.
Yeah.
You're going to dance.
Yeah. And
the horn players were incredible. Like, these guys were such pros.
Right.
And Corey Wong is nobody plays guitar like Corey Wong. Nobody. Like, there's a lot of people that play funk.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people that play clean, rhythmic guitar. But there are very few people that you would call them a lead guitar player. And he is. He plays solos and stuff, but his thing is super fast, super tight, super intricate funk guitar. And it's such a treat. Like, it was such a treat.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That's what I miss about, as much as, crowds obviously are not my favorite thing anymore, but I do miss, because there is nothing like being in a room with people for a show. It's just, there's nothing like it. It's just, when you look around, everyone's catching the same vibe, like, you're looking around, we're like, yeah, we're all here for this, like, we're all here for, and we're all experiencing it and feeling it. And it's an amazing thing. Honestly, it's one of my favorite things that we've done as humans. Is music, figuring out music, because it's very rare to find somebody who's like, I don't like music, almost everybody likes some sort of music. They may not agree on what type, but I just love that there's so many options out there for us too. You can like all sorts of different artists and bands and genres and all that kind of stuff. So that's cool. I missed that. I was looking the other day I got fooled, actually. I didn't realize I was looking at, it was on Facebook, and it was a thing where they show pictures and kind of recaps from shows that were in Toledo years ago. And I didn't realize that that's what it was. I thought it was an advertisement, because it basically says, it said Thursday at Headliners on May whatever. And I'm like, and Thursday the band, I'm sorry, I should specify. And I'm like, oh, cool, at Headliners? First of all, I'm forgetting Headliners is not open anymore. Second of all, I was like, because I'm like, if they're Headliners, I got to hit Tony up. Like, hey, we need to go see Thursday, And then I was like, And then afterward, I was like, "Oh, this is from 2003."
Oh, God, yeah.
Like, oh, okay. I was like, "Well, I bet they put on a nice show."
That's great.
Because I'm thinking small
Well,
venue,
the one thing-
a couple hundred people. Thursday is
Yeah.
a loud band. I like loud bands in small venues, even though it's horrible for my hearing. But I love it. It's my thing. And I was like, man, that'd be a good time. Probably only gonna be like $20 tickets, $30 tickets. Cool, let's do it. And I was like, oh,
And that's what, like this was like $40,
yeah,
1,200 seat place, old Union Pacific, huge, it was their old big train station in Salt Lake City.
Cool.
So beautiful restoration of a building.
yeah,
And the thing that hit me again is like I have Corey's albums. I have Corey's other projects that he's in.
Mhm.
I've watched his videos. He does podcasts. He does all this stuff. But nothing could prepare me for actually hearing his guitar through a loud PA system.
Yeah,
Like, it was so like, I'm like, yes, this is why we go see live music, because his instrument, his style, it's not like you go see Steve Vai, some of these like shredder guitar players and soloists, like his sound is his sound. It's the same. I mean, it's basically live recorded. It's the same, but Corey's sound is percussive because of how he hits the strings.
okay,
And it'd be the same thing like with some of these like guitar players that, that are doing rhythmic things on their acoustic guitars.
yeah,
Until you get to feel it,
yeah.
like on
Yep.
a big system,
Well, it's like when
it just hits differently.
back in the late 90s to early 2000s, when we go see somebody like Korn and with that slap bass,
Yes.
you'd feel that bass differently than other
You
rock bands.
feel it now.
Because like you said, the
Exactly.
way they're hitting the strings is not the same.
They're
and
smacking the strings.
Yep. And it kind of smacks you when they do it.
And it drives differently.
Yep. It's a whole different
Exactly.
experience. Yeah.
Like when when the drummer came in and like it was like it reminded me of just like, this is why AI music sucks,
Right.
Because you'll never see them performing it unless you get someone to cover the AI song.
Yeah.
And that live music, it's live music.
Yeah.
We got to go see some live music.
Yep. Yeah.
It's-
Yeah. Agreed.
Yep.
Agreed.
And then, like this has been a really, I at the end of March was the trip to Belize.
hmm
Incredible. I can't wait to go back again.
Yeah. It looked
We
like you
got
had a great
to
time. The
the first-
pictures were amazing.
It was amazing.
Yeah, I was really
was
enjoying going
amazing.
through your pictures, looking at the stuff. Because I could tell, like,
Yeah,
it's
my,
cool because, like, we know each other well enough that I can kind of picture you enjoying this. You enjoy, you know what I mean? Like, a little like, oh, I bet he had a lot
Yeah.
of fun doing that. Or, oh, I bet that was
Yeah.
really good for the soul, So,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
And that's like James, our drummer in the 80s band, was like, man, you were slamming us with photos. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I do it for mom.
Yeah.
Like, I really do. And not just mom. It's also, it's like you.
Yeah,
It's people that I know that, I'm not sitting there going, hey, check out what
Yeah.
it's about, hey, look at
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Well, it's
You
like
know,
I've
like-
never been
like,
there
I
before,
wish
so I
you
got
were
to see
here.
cool pictures
Yeah.
of like, if somebody was considering going there, I could see where if looking through your pictures, be like, okay, yeah, we got to do this.
Yeah,
like
I'm gonna go do this.
Yeah,
Exactly.
like it's time to get
Yeah.
off the fence post on this one. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. So it was really fun as the family we stayed with. I have some pictures of Joseph, but none with Yusuf. It's funny, their names are spelled almost the same. There's one letter difference.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so they're both in their mid-20s. They've pretty much taken over mom and dad's business. They have a bunch of cabins on this 25 acre property.
Okay.
And Joseph is like me. you can't shut the guy up. Like he's just, he's born on the stage. Yusuf is a thinker. Like we figured that out right. He's very quiet. He sometimes low talks, which bothered me a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was funny reading reviews that people like were kind of off put by him because he's one of these guys that you can either his response might be wisdom, but you also might think it's a little bit sarcastic. He's just one of those guys. But like for example, we don't have any photos of this because it was impossible, but they have this little fiberglass boat and we're on the Belize River. Their properties are on the Belize River. We went out at night looking for crocodiles at night.
Yeah.
And so we had Joseph at the front of the boat and Yusuf at the back at the helm, and it was exactly how it's supposed to be. You want Yusuf rock solid in the back, and you want Joseph your guide in the front.
Okay.
But it became very clear that Joseph was a very good fit for us, so he was the one that took us to the underwater tubing cave, and he was the one that took us to the Mayan ruins. Because if you're going to just sit in a car for 2.5 hours going to the Mayan ruins, you might as well have someone that'll talk.
Fair. Yeah.
Right. So and that I cannot wait to go back. It felt like I had I had my own private tour guide.
You kind of
And
did,
because
from the way it sounds.
I did because they grew up there. This is their country. They love their country.
Yeah.
They're stoked about their country. This was not some professional guide that's giving you the same spiel, the same group of people he did the day before that, and the day before that, and the day before that.
Right.
And one of the cool things is his parents came out. We got to meet them and everything, and it just had a really. There's something about it that I just loved how it felt, that kind of personal touch. But the interesting thing was when we get in the car and we're driving along, and mind you, this is we're still in the area of British protectorates,
Oh,
right?
right.
Right. So Belize used to be British Honduras,
Okay.
and right. And so we get in the car, and I'm like, Yusuf, why are we driving on the left hand side, or on the right hand side?
Yeah.
Why aren't we driving on the left? We're driving on the right. You're in the left hand, right?
Yeah.
Like he's driving the car like I would in the United States.
Yeah. Right.
The driver's seat is on the left. We're driving on the right. I'm like, that makes, and then the signs. The 55 mile an hour signs look like it was miles per hour, not kilometers.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Miles per hour.
Okay.
Yeah. And you go to Jamaica and you're driving on the left side. You've got the universal, the diamond shaped signs.
Yeah.
And he goes, do you have any idea why? I'm like, I have no clue. Like this makes no sense. He's like, well, before they built the Panama Canal, they considered doing a canal in Belize. And the Americans came in and said, well, in order for us to do this, you guys are going to have to change the way you drive and go down the road.
Okay.
And I'm just like, of course.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Of course we did.
Right.
Of course we would do this because, yeah. And then the funny part is like, and there were probably only 5 cars in the country, so why do we even want to change back? You know? So he's like, we never bothered to change back.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until you get to Belize City that you actually saw more of the universal, signage.
Right.
Otherwise, it was a trip. It was just really funny. And what was nice about though is because of the ties to the U.S., it's 2 to 1. It's 2 Belize dollars to 1 US dollar.
Okay.
Like no matter what, it was very clear cut. It was, know, and then the next 4 days we went out to this island called Key Cocker. And that was just, the incredible wildlife. We found this really nice, they run it as an Airbnb, but it's like these 4 little condo units, just you're right on the water. You got your own little palapa. And some of there was another couple that was there. We talked to one of them, and we both agreed we're not going to give a review on the property because we don't want anyone to find out about it.
Yeah. It's nice
But
to
it was-
kind of
it
try
was
to
a great
protect the
play-
secrets. Yeah.
Right, because
Yeah.
this was now it most what I noticed is that the most of the island was younger people,
Mhm.
and there were a lot of Europeans and Aussies, and there were some Norwegians, and because they have hostels, I think they had 4 hostels on the island, so lots of places to stay inexpensively. And like a lot of social influencers were there, staying in like the nicer hotels.
Yeah, okay.
And there weren't that many older people there.
Yeah.
It was definitely a young crowd, and the prices were reasonable. They weren't. I mean, you're on an island,
Yeah.
so you're going to be paying more.
Sure. Yeah.
On the mainland in Belize, it was cheap. But yeah, we had some pretty good highlights, and I think one of them for sure was the monkeys. Like,
Yeah.
we for the first few nights we could hear them, and you could hear that they're relatively close, but these howler monkeys, they can go up over 125 decibels with
Oh,
their
wow.
calls, so they can be miles away and they sound
Yeah.
like they're right next to you.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they're next to a whale. They're the loudest mammal on Earth.
Wow. Okay.
They said that they've had recorded up to 140 decibels. But and then they're called troops, and we kept asking Joseph, like, do you think the troops going to come over, because they have a cashew tree on their property, and the troops will come over and hang out? And he's like, yeah, you never know. But he said, go across the street. Mr. Blue has a troop on his property. He feeds them, so they hang out with him. He'll charge you a little bit, but you go over there and you'll be able to see the monkeys.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay. So our last day, we go over there. We didn't know that they were going to come down out of the trees and freaking sit on our shoulders. I mean, come on, like Sharon was practically in tears, like
Yeah.
just with joy. I
Right.
mean, it was
That's
like,
cool.
these are wild animals.
Yeah.
He's coming down to hang
Yeah.
out. It's like, okay. But yeah, it was really special. I mean, it was a really special deal. So I got that.
That's awesome.
Like I said, this Corey Wong show was a thing I wanted to do, and then we got a big gig next weekend. There's a lady, it's her 70th birthday, and she's like, you know what? I really enjoyed your guys' show in January. I want to rent out the facility and throw a party. And she said it can be a free show. And so she covered the door.
Oh, wow.
So we're not charging at the door. So we should have a great party next Saturday night.
That should be fun.
And
yeah.
she wanted no recognition, no nothing. She's just like, I want to have a good time with my friends. I want you guys to play, and I want it to be done here.
Okay.
And it's like, invite who you want.
That sounds like a
So-
win for everybody. On the surface at
Yeah.
least. Yeah.
Yeah, and especially since a lot of people weren't able to come in January,
Yeah.
and they they felt like they missed out. It's like, all right, here we go again, and
Yeah.
and we've worked up 5 new songs, or 4 or 5 new songs, which is really fun.
Awesome.
God, I love playing these old 80s hits.
Yeah. Is that?
You know,
yeah, that's
we-
right.
we-
yeah,
we-
that's the '80s band, right? Like you guys just do
This is the
80s
80s
and
band, yeah.
original. Yeah.
Yeah, we try to stick to this one. We try to stick to the stuff that would be considered new wave,
Okay.
or like we're not doing. I mean, the closest to 80s rock tune is like we do a Tom Petty tune.
Okay.
We do like U2. We're not doing an 80s U2. We're doing a 90s U2 song, and End of the World, and that's more of
okay.
a rocking tune.
Yeah. Okay.
So, we are doing some, but for the most part, we're trying to stick to what would be considered new wave.
Okay.
We do a lot, we had several Cars songs. We do some kind of deep cuts like the Plimsolls, A Million Miles Away. But like we added Red Rain,
Okay.
because we were doing Digging in the Dirt by Peter Gabriel, but I'm like, that's actually technically the 90s.
Love
so
that song though.
Let's
yeah.
it's so
Great
good.
song,
Oh,
yeah.
it's a blast. But
Yeah.
our Red Rain's good. We added Video Killed the Radio Star.
Nice.
I did not think that this was going to be as fun as it was.
Yeah.
And it's a blast. We added a Devo song. And because Johnny, our kind of our namesake and our band leader, he's the giant, the biggest Devo fan
Oh,
ever.
okay. All right.
And so we added that, and we're doing a like a Talking Heads tune, because Talking Heads were kind of considered New York new wave. And then what else did we add? Psychedelic Furs. We actually, now that I'm thinking about it, we added quite a few songs. And yeah, it's going to be fun, and we're trying to throw a show. And this band is just I'm just so happy to be in this group. Like,
I can tell you seem like when just talking about it, you can tell you're just happy talking about just playing it. Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, with modern love, David Bowie.
Oh yeah.
Another opportunity to bring in our sax player to do that.
Right. Nice.
Yeah, and it's the thing about it is like Allie, thank goodness we have Allie. She's the woman that's been coming in and doing a lot of the songs that we needed a female vocalist for.
Okay.
And like Brian's a really good singer. Our other guitar player, I do okay, but a lot of that stuff's hard to sing.
Yeah.
And
I was going to say some of that stuff you mentioned are very distinct sounds, like sounding songs.
Yeah. And so if you're going to say what's our weak point, it's probably the vocalist stuff.
Yeah.
However, we make up for it definitely with like our rhythm section and our showmanship.
Having fun, and
it's great to have, and having fun, and it's great to have that. Our drummer comes from an alternative kind of a punk background, so he really knows how to lay into it. Our bass player really comes from the Rolling Stones classic kind of rock sound. So it's very, for him, he's a very fundamental player,
Yeah.
And then me, I'm just always going to be very showman-y. And so's Johnny on keyboards like that. And then our keyboard, my bandmate in Doghouse, Paul, he's just an incredible piano player. So, and he's one of those guys where he doesn't need to be out front, but like, it's like, you're not aware of him until he stops playing, and then all of a sudden you're like, what's missing?
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, I'm going to just keep saying it. You got that many dudes in a room together and we all get along?
Hey, that's something. I mean, that's something.
That's something.
You're
the only
not wrong.
time we butt heads at all, and it's usually me, because it's me and the sax player, Tony.
Do you know who I am? Yeah.
The two guys from California. Yo, both of us are like that. Yeah. And the thing is, he's earned it. Like he's a pro. Like he's a freaking pro.
Right.
Like I'm not. But yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, so all good life stuff. Work stuff is we're just transitioning from the what could have been called a winter into summer.
Right.
Or spring. Yeah. We had a little bit of a heat wave for like a week or so, and then it got really cold last week where we're back into it again. And,
okay. Yeah, we're hitting that
usual.
A couple days ago, it was like 80 degrees. I got the heat on today.
Yeah. That's what happened to us.
Yeah.
I was almost pulling out the air conditioner, and I actually started, turning on some of the irrigation. Then I'm just like, okay, I hope I don't freeze anything.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's what I mean. We have a freeze warning for tonight. So
yeah.
And like I said, a couple days ago, I did have the air on for one day because it was around 80 and it was humid because we had a big rain system come through.
Storm coming.
Yeah. So I had to turn it on to not be miserable.
It's been good. I mean, works the usual problems. It's like, I this is the part where I kind of old man rant, where it's like, I've asked you guys to do this certain way for all these, I walked in, I'm like, I kind of distinctly remember saying that we need to start on this earlier.
Yeah.
Like, is anybody going to help me with this?
All right.
And then and then all of a sudden there's some phone calls made. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
And then the young guy needs a little boot every once in a while. Like, hey dude, you're here to actually work, not
buddy, you're getting outworked by the old men. That's not a good look for you.
Oh, that's right. I told him, I'm like, I did 23,000 steps on Wednesday.
Yeah.
That's 10 miles.
Yeah.
let's see what you got.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
That's a lot of steps.
so yeah, that's
Yeah, that reminds me of like when my
Yeah, I
brother
had-
was starting at the post office when he was doing nothing but a walking route. He put in a lot of steps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had 3 20,000 step days last week.
Wow.
Monday it rained, so I only got in 7. I was being lit. I was doing office work.
Here's a question for you. Okay, because I know you
Yeah.
took a longer vacation than you normally take this time, right? You usually go for a week,
A
right?
little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, it was it was more like 10 days.
I was going to ask you if it was harder to go back to work this time.
All right.
I guess part of it too
no,
ends up being the
because-
vacation too. If you have a really nice, relaxing vacation, it's a little easier than like if you have an vacation. Like when you stay at home and you're working the whole time, and it's like,
Yeah, and then the other part of it is the travel. So
yeah,
going to Jamaica, there's we can make it there sometimes same day, but most of the time it's overnight, and on the way back it's overnight.
yeah,
And so we end up traveling for, anywhere from 12 to 24 hours, to be honest.
sure.
It's like, it can be really long, and that's tiring. This wasn't like yes, we had to drive to Boise the night before, but we were on a flight at, whatever it was, 8 a.m. and our flight got delayed in Dallas, but we were in Belize at 4 p.m.
Oh, okay.
So same day we were there. We were supposed to be there at 2:30 in the afternoon. Now the way home took longer just because of logistics, because we were on an island, so we had to get on a small plane to get to the mainland. Mainland, right?
Yeah.
So that ended up being a long day. Like we started off early in the morning. Our flight left at, our little puddle jumper left at 8 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And we got into Boise at 10 at night. And then I had to drive 2 hours home.
Right.
So, but here's where I did it right. So, we had left.
Stopped at a gas station,
Wednesday,
got some of
the
that that trucker caffeine type stuff. Yeah. Some no-dos.
Yep, that stuff. Yep.
Couple Red Bulls with it.
When they used to sell ephedrine straight out of the truck stop.
Yep. And it's funny looking back. My dad used to buy that like no-dos. He would use that, not all the time, and it's like, holy crap. Thinking back, because my dad had heart issues.
Right.
Like my dad had 2 heart attacks at this point. This was before his quadruple bypass and his 3rd heart attack.
Yeah.
It was like my dad had already had 2 heart attacks, and he was taking no-dos and not anything prescribed by a doctor or what, just straight to the face, man. At least he wasn't knocking it back with,
Totally.
and it was probably being washed down with a Mountain Dew too. I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, of course, because you gotta get a little bonus caffeine.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
different times.
we left early on a Wednesday morning, and we arrived back late on a Thursday night. So whatever. It was 8 days.
Okay.
But here's the good news. I took Friday off.
Mm-hmm.
I could have gone to work on Saturday, but I ended up arranging. I had my coworker Frank. He's like, "Oh, I got Saturday. Don't worry about it." I'm like, "Cool." So I had 3 days before I had to go back to work.
Nice.
And that was the key, because we got home at 1 a.m. on after we got back.
Yeah.
I was useless Friday.
Oh, I bet.
I mean, useless.
Yep.
I kind of sometime in the afternoon considered doing something and did a few things, but pretty much like there was nothing resembling productivity until Saturday, and then Sunday was normal, and then Monday I was ready to go to work. So
yeah, that's why
that's my lesson now is definitely the extra days when I get home.
That's why I said I learned that watching Jen years ago, when she would go visit her mom in Florida, and she'd come back Sunday and have to go to work Monday, and Monday she was just dragging. And I was like, you need to come back a day sooner so you can rest Sunday, and when she started doing that, it made a huge difference, because, you can get that lag out of you a little bit to where Monday you're still tired and everything, but it's not as bad, like you've just laid around watching bad TV for a day before you go back. So, you just kind of give in to what your body's telling you at that point. It's like, hey, I just need to not do anything today. Like, okay, cool. And And then tomorrow you're like, all right, it's Monday. This stinks, but here we go. You know. So yeah, I'm glad that works. I'm glad that you're able to do that, because not everybody can, you know, because sometimes, you know, you don't want to cut another day off your vacation, or like you were saying with Jamaica, you're traveling a lot. So if you cut a day out of there, it's, you know, you're like, man, I don't want to, you know, one less day there. So that's cool. Glad to hear it. Glad you had a good time. I assume Sharon did too. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, like, hey, who cares?
It was hilarious. for those 3 days when we got back, you'd be just wandering around. I was going, I'm depressed.
Yeah,
I'm depressed.
Just miss the monkeys. Miss the monkeys.
I got the vacation blues. Yeah, I miss monkeys.
Yep.
It was cute.
Yeah.
What's been going on with you?
Oh, things. You know. Really quick before I get into, I want to mention, because I kept forgetting, I meant to send you this link, and it popped in my head when you were talking about music, talking about people in a room, and I wasn't even thinking concert-wise. I was thinking you as a music player, because I saw, and this is great, because anyone who's listened for a long time knows I'm a massive geek for the creative process. I love hearing why people made the decisions they do. I love watching when people are in the process. It's just a fun... It's my favorite thing to basically people watch, is people solving a problem kind of a thing is what it is. But also in that moment, you're literally seeing the birth of something, you know, like they're creating. You get to see the inception moment of that, or, you know. So I was watching, I saw a thing, I don't remember even how it popped up. I think it was like where I was watching where somebody does like covers of songs in the style of somebody else, or one of those kind of things. And then I saw, and it says Thursday covers Four Non Blondes. And I'm like, oh, what? Like, Thursday and Four Non Blondes are not at all alike. At all, right? So I'm like, okay. And it's, what's the name of the song? It's not What's Going On, is it? Isn't there another? The song has a different name, though? That was the big hit. Okay. I thought it had a different name, but that's was the song.
Yeah, it's What's Going On. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the song that they're doing, and I'm like, what? And what it is there's this it's an app to help people learn to play instruments, and it started.
Okay.
It started with oh crap, I can't think of his name. The drummer for the Chili Peppers, Chad Smith.
Chad Smith.
Yeah. You know how like there's those videos of him where they'll play him a song and then he plays it afterward? Like it's the first time he's hearing the song and then he plays it afterward. It's the company that is behind that. So, anywho, what they do is they have Thursday in the recording studio and they go, okay, we're going to play a song for you. Then we want you to take that song and take your time, mix it however you need to, and play it in your style. Like within X amount of time, basically, you know, like an hour or something like that. And I was like, oh, this should be interesting. So I watched it and it was fun. Although that one wasn't my favorite one. I saw a couple that I thought were better because I kind of felt like the singer never connected with the song. And I kind of feel like he just mailed it in a little bit. But they did say toward the end of it, because the guy goes, how close to 100, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, how close is this to being a song you'd release, basically? And they were all like 5. They were like, we take a lot of time to develop our stuff. So we feel like we're on the right path, but we would want to develop it further. Okay, fine. You know, well, then I started looking at the other bands that they have on there to see if there was any other bands that I was like familiar with or whatever. But the one that caught my eye was a funk band covering Alice in Chains. And it was them covering Dem Bones. And
oh, cool.
And the band is, hold on, I gotta pull. Oh, sorry, I gotta pull the link up here. The name of the band is The Free Label. And anyway, so they get these guys. They're all, you know, kind of youngish guys in, you know, bell bottoms and, you know, everything. And they hear the song. None of them knew the song, first of all, which was kind of cool because I was like, oh, they've never heard this song. They don't have, there's no cheat to it, basically. You know, like, oh, yeah, I know this song. I've thought about this one before, you know. And immediately the lead singer just goes, as they're listening, and he's, you can tell he's digging the song, and he goes, "Oh, I got it. And the next X amount of time watching them go, what if I did this? And everyone's like, yes, I'll do, that whole process was so much fun. And I was like, man,
cool.
I used to sit around with some friends that I knew that were in bands that did that. And it's, it's always a fun moment to be there when, something's kind of snapping together to where you're like, oh, I got a perfect bass line, like to go with that, and then the singer starts kind of harmonizing a little bit as they're finding, and this guy and this band, you could tell they had so much fun doing this so then the guy goes, okay, whenever you're ready, boom, they come out, hit all the things they said they were going to do, boom, 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 done. And the guy goes, all right, well, he goes, let's run it one more time. And the one guy goes, no, I think we got it. He goes, I don't think we'll hit that energy again if we try. He's like, I think we nailed it. And then they're like, so on a scale of 1 to 10, and the guy goes, I could see us playing this tomorrow night. He's like, at a gig. He's like, if someone comes up and asks us to play this, he's like, I think we'll have a lot of fun playing this. Like, he's like, I think we nailed it. He's like, first take, just hit it. And it's not, I don't love it, but I loved seeing how happy each of them was when they were getting their stuff in. Like when the drummer got to do his bit, and you could just tell they were having so much fun playing it. And I was like, this is like childlike joy right now. These guys are just having so much fun, like with their some of their friends, just, hey, let's just have some fun. They found that groove pretty fast and everything. And, and it's so, if you don't have it, I'll send you the link if you want to check it out. At least, check out the end of it, but watch the whole thing if you have time. 'Cause it's like I said, it's fun watching those guys kind of come together over what they're going to do. And I'm sure a lot of it is things that are, this is my style. This is, there's probably similar to like when you hear a rapper freestyle on a radio show. It's like, it's probably not a freestyle. Yeah. It's probably a little already in his head, but still, it was a lot of fun. And I was just like, I was like, oh, I got to talk to Heno about this because this was, just that great moment of joy, and it was a band I'd never heard of before, and not that I'm necessarily going to, I might check their stuff out. Who knows? I don't know what they play normally. I mean, I know they play funk. That's all I know they play. So, yeah. But apparently that's a series on that YouTube channel.
Oh, cool.
As they do that, they'll throw, they just bring a band in, play them a song, and then, okay, like, create and play it back to us in your style type of thing. And generally they pick something way outside the comfort zone of the band or the genre of the band, So it's kind of, I love the idea behind it. Yeah. All right. So now we get into the others. Oh, one other thing in music that I thought was cool was, like for the most part, people were like over the last week or whatever, they were, Coachella this, Coachella. And I'm like, I don't care because I don't know like 99% of these acts. Or if I do, they're not acts I'm really interested in. But when I heard about 9 Inch Noise, which is 9 Inch Nails, his Trent Reznor's wife, which I can't think of her name. Otherwise, I would say her name. And what is it? The Noise Boys, I think, is the other whatever. And they came out and played.
Talked about a lot.
Dude, that was a great set. Like, I heard a couple where people were posting videos of it. And now it's on Spotify now. You can listen to like it's an album, basically. And I listened to it last night. I was like, oh, I really dig this. Is really good. And what's really cool about it is there's a lot of young people that were absolutely not familiar with 9 Inch Nails that all of a sudden are like, who's this? And it's funny because I'm thinking to myself, like Trent Reznor announced, what is that? I think like their next tour is probably going to be their like final tour or something to that effect. So it's like they're on the sunset part of their career, sort of. I mean, they could always whatever, but and people are just, these kids now are just like, oh wait, hold on, And I was like, oh, and it also,
funny.
I mean,
they're like, hey,
yeah, and I was like, you know what? I haven't listened to much 9 Inch Nails in a long time. So last night I just, did a shuffle on Spotify and listened to a whole bunch of 9 Inch Nails. So, I was very much, jealous of people who got to see the set or, whatever. Because they're one of the bands I never went and saw, and I don't know why. Tony and I were just talking about it the other day because we were talking about Black Label Society, Zakk Wylde's band, and I was like, "How come we never went and saw them? They've been through here." Why? And he goes, "I don't know. That's a good question." It's just, and for a long time that wouldn't have been a crazy expensive ticket. It would have been probably a $20 ticket for a while at the smaller venues, until they kind of really, ticket prices started going up. But anywho, I love that because, it's obviously I like Nine Inch Nails, but also it was such a cool thing that, I saw people when they were like, Nine Inch Nails was playing next or whatever, and people were like, meh, and then turns out to be one of the most talked about sets of the night until Bieber took the stage, and then it was all Justin Bieber. But I don't know if you heard, like, what he did was pretty cool. It sounds like he did like a retrospective of his life, like on YouTube.
Pretty much,
wow, it was a really neat, whoever's idea that was a great presentation, like for an idea. So, it's like, I'm not a Bieber fan, but, that was a really cool idea for a performance, so anyway. Yeah. But enough about that. Back to like real life and whatever. So Easter, on Easter, I think my kitty might have had a seizure, and she was, basically walking around like she was drunk. She'd take a step and then way to the one side and way, And at first I was like, oh no, because my first thought was maybe ear infection because of how she was walking. Because my last cat had an ear infection at one point, and she could not walk straight for a while. Like, we had to be luckily she wasn't one that got up high. So, because if she did, it's, they can't judge as well when they have ear infections, much like us. So jumping down could be dangerous, So this cat's not much on jumping up high or anything either. So thank goodness for that. But I called Jen, our former third mic on this show, as she's now a vet tech, or I don't remember exactly what her qualification is, her job title. But anywho, I knew she knew, and I was like, and because it's Easter Sunday, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to have to take my kitty in today. It's going to cost so much money. Like, I love my kitty, but an emergency on a holiday, But and she told me, because my cat's 16 and a half. She's an old kitty, So Jen was like, you could just keep an eye on her. She goes, if she shows any sign of it again, take her in right away. Don't wait, kind of thing. I was like, okay. And as the day went on, you could tell she was returning to normal. Her walking got a lot better. Broke my heart at one point. Like, she went over to get a drink of water and just fell to the right. Like, she couldn't balance.
Oh, jeez.
So I get over there and I put my hand on one side of her to steady her, and then I tilted the water bowl so she could drink a little easier. And then she was able to get some water, and so we did that. And my roommate held her food bowl to her so she could eat a little easier while we steadied her. And and then as the night went on, she was able to do it herself. And then she went and she's, just laid down for a while, and I kept checking on her, and she just curled up sleeping. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm sure this was a stressful day. So, and then the next day I got up and pretty much same old kitty, back to personality yelling at me because I slept too long and she needed food in that dish, and meaning her wet food, not her dry food. She had plenty of food. She just didn't have the food she wanted,
Yeah.
But I was like, cool, and then she went over and ate and drank, and I'm like, okay, good, sorry, she's doing all the vitals, so I was like, okay, and because Jen told me basically at the age she is, it's like, she's like they're going to want to run tests, and those are going to be very expensive tests. So, because, they're going to want an MRI, because, to see if there's what happened with her brain and whatever. And so she goes, at her age, she's like, it's up to you. She goes, I can't diagnose or whatever. She's like, I can just tell you kind of what the options will be, and up to you. And I was like, man, I hate so much that we have to make these decisions, not just, I mean, even with people with kids or family members. I just hate that any of us have to make a financial decision on someone that we love. It's just awful. you know. But like I said, now she's running around the house like normal, jumping up on the back of the couch like she always does, and I better be out there right at the right time to put that food in that dish, and whatever. Otherwise, I get yelled at. So,
Wow.
as far as I can tell now, she's 100% or whatever. So, hopefully it's just a one-off, because like Jen said, sometimes it is just a one-time experience, and sometimes it's not. And unfortunately, what kicked my butt the most with it, aside from being my kitty that I've had for a long time and I love her, is my first cat. My mom had to have her put down on Easter Sunday. So when this happens on an Easter Sunday, I'm like, oh, come on.
Wow. Yeah.
like what are we doing here? And also my last cat, she had seizures, and that's why we had to take her to the vet, and she was having really bad ones, and they couldn't get them to stop. So, that's how we lost that kitty, so I'm like, all right, can we not do this? I'm still in grief for my mom's here. I can't afford to lose my kitty, so I'm gonna need whoever in the universe, the flying spaghetti monster or whatever you believe in, to come through for me here. So, and it did, like I said, she's seemingly okay at this point. I know, like I said, she's 16 and a half, it's going to happen. I was fortunate that my last cat was 25 when she died.
Wow.
So yeah, so she lived a nice pampered life. So, and healthy up until that last night. Like, she was great, and then I woke up and she was having bad seizures. That was just it. No signs ahead that I knew of. Just, yeah. So anyway, but like I said, she's seemingly doing pretty well now. She's now turned into somewhat of a lap cat. And I don't mean since then, just over the last few months. She's been getting up on my lap and going to sleep on my lap, which was not something she really did ever to any of us. To my mom, Jim, me, nobody that's lived here. She's always she'll get on the couch and still be about a foot or so away from you. But now she's getting up on my lap and curling up and going to sleep. So, which I'm like, finally, I got a cat, a lap kitty.
Yeah.
Like, my last kitty would do it for a while. She'd lay on you, for half an hour or so, and then she'd be like, all right, enough of this. I'm going to go down foot of the bed or wherever and really curl up and stretch out or whatever she wanted to do. And this one, now, so she lays with me for, 20 minutes or so. And usually I think she gets up and then she'll go find somewhere more comfortable to sleep, because I'm sure my legs are not as comfortable as, the foot of my bed or a pillow. So, but yeah, like I said, so, good news after the bad news there, but good news in regard that, she seems okay at this point. So, yeah, I hung out with our friend Jeannie the other night and with Jen, and unfortunately, was it about a week or so ago, Jen's father passed away. So she's been, going through that and such. And, I told her as soon as I saw where the funeral was going to be, I was like, I can't. It's in the same spot my mom was. And I was like, I can't do that. I was like, I'll do anything else in the world for you. I was like, I'll, come over, I'll make you dinner, we can hang out. But I'm sorry, I can't do that. And she understood. It's, yeah, we're into that. Next month will be a year. So, and it's wild, man. Just, I talked to my therapist the last time I was in there, and first of all, I've got one visit left with this therapist, and then I'm getting a new therapist because this one's moving. So I was like, but I don't want to have to get a new. But anyway, but I was talking with her, and I was like, the more I think about it, as much as it hurts that I lost my mom, I've been through parental loss before. You know, like I knew what to expect for the most part. I know what that hole is in your life. You know, it sucks. But I'm like, I really and truly think the companion loss is what's really wrecking me. Because every day I get up, mom's there. We talk. You know, we have dinner. We go out to dinner sometimes. You know, we live together, you know, so we interacted all the time. And, you know, before she'd go to bed, you know, she'd, you know, open the door in this room and, you know, hey, good night. You know, I love you, all this kind of stuff. And, you know, and now, you know, I wake up, I walk out in the living room and there's the cat, you know, but that's it. It's not, you know, there's no companion there. There's no way for me to talk to most of the time through the day. I have a roommate, but he's working, you know, so it's like I'm very much experiencing loneliness on top of the grief, you know, and I think it's really been kicking my butt hard because, you know, like I didn't have a lot of direction in my life and I got even less now. You know, like I wake up and I'm just kind of like I told my therapist, I said, I don't even know how to say this. And this is honestly the first time I'm saying it not in therapy, is like, I just don't know what's the point. Like, I don't have anything I want to live for. Like, I don't care. Right? Like, I'm not going to hurt myself. You know, it's one of those, like, I could be, like, I told somebody the one day, I said, the best way for me to, talk about the way that my brain has worked as far as suicidal ideations go is I could stand on the ledge of a building and you don't have to worry about me jumping, but you got to worry about a stiff breeze, you know, in that if a breeze pushed enough, I'm not necessarily going to stop, but I'm not going to jump kind of a thing, you know, and that's kind of where I'm at again, is very much like, I just don't see a point, you know, like I just don't see anything that I want, you know, like, you know, I've seen a lot of people talk about how, you know, the best thing you can do is always have something to hope for, whether it's tomorrow, 5 years from now, whatever it is. And that's, I think, where I'm at, is that I don't see anything. And I've talked about this with you before. Like, I don't see anything on the horizon for me. You know, and part of that has to do with, like I said years ago, feeling that I would probably have been dead by now. I really figured I would have offed myself before now, which I'm glad I haven't. You know, like, I don't want to die. I want to feel like there's a reason I'm living, you know, kind of a thing. And I know, you know, I've had people, well, you know, you bring this to us, or, you know, you bring this to the table. And it's like, I get all that, you know, and I appreciate that. But you know how it is. It's like, it needs to be in my head. You know, my brain has to tell me this is why I'm getting up every day. Like right now, I'm getting up every day to feed my cat. You know, something happens to the cat. I've already talked to my therapist about how I lost the safety net when my mom died. You know, like the cat's the last string of the safety net, you know, basically. Like if something happens to the cat, now it's like, well, now why do I need to get out of bed? So, you know, these are things I'll be talking with the new therapist about on our first visit, probably. This will be a nice introduction. You know,
Yeah.
So
Where
how have you been?
Well,
Yeah, it's really hard for me to say that, you know, because I've, you know, especially over the last X amount of years, where I've really tried to just be positive about things. Things will work out, keep, you know, one foot in front of the other, those kind of things. And I just don't feel that way now. I feel like I'm putting a foot in front of the other, but nothing's happening. You know, it's like I feel like I'm walking on a treadmill, you know, kind of a situation, you know, to where I'm like, I'm not moving, but my legs are moving, you know. Sorry, I kicked something here. So yeah, I don't know. And I know I keep trying to figure out what I'm going to do to survive. And that's the other part of it that's really creeping my head hard again, is my money's getting low. And again, my options for survival are roadblocked in one way or another, pretty much each way that I turn, you know. So I don't know, man. I've been trying so hard. Like I posted on Twitter something like trying hard not to become the storm cloud again or something like that. And in that meaning, I don't want to be the guy that's negative all the time again, you know? But that's really how I'm feeling. Like a lot, you know, I'm finding it harder. You know, the stuff going on in the real world's not helping the cause either. You know, it's hard to look at the headlines or anything and find hope in a lot of stuff. And I'm not the only one experiencing that. Many of us are like, ooh, you know, kind of. But I don't know what to do here. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to turn. I don't know what to do, you know? And everybody I say that to is very much like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you either. Which doesn't help, you know? I don't need somebody to tell me what to do, but I need, you know, options are nice. And I you know, I do have some options. I have to re-strategize how I'm doing things currently a little bit, and hopefully that'll work out. And if so, then, you know, maybe things will be all right then. But I don't know. It's just really, it's just, you know, I've told you this before. It's like, it's really awful living this way. Like, it just sucks. And I know there's people out there with worse than me. And I feel so bad that they feel that way too, you know, as it's like every day, all I can think about is just getting through that day, you know, like I'm not, and not in a just, I just got a couple hours and then I can, it's literally just making it through another day. But at some point it's like, for what, you know? I don't know. Said I don't feel like I've been like this in a while. Like, you know what this reminds me of? I almost, since it had been a while since we recorded, I almost did another episode of, remember that time I recorded by myself when I was like, hey, I'm really in a bad spot. Like, I almost did another one of those kind of a situation just to kind of say it out loud, you know, because it's so hard because, like I've said, this ends up becoming like you feel like you're the boy who cried wolf at a point. To where when you keep saying this stuff, you can just see people tune out on you. You know, because they don't have an answer, or they're like, yeah, I've heard this, or it's not, or the worst part would be if they think you're not, you know, oh, it's not that bad, you know, type of thing. So I don't know. You know, like I said, I've been talking to my therapist. I got an appointment again with her this week that, like I said, unfortunately is my last appointment with this one, but it doesn't have to be. I do have the option of going where she is, but it's like half an hour away now. So it's like, you know, with me not driving, that's kind of a, but, yeah, you know, just, it just drains on you, like trying to just be in survival mode every day. Like trying to figure out some way of living, and I can't just live, you know, I can't just let everything go and go, well, something will work out, you know, because, you know, you can't so much call the electric company and be like, hey, you know, things will work out. Don't you guys worry about it. They're not going to, you know what, you're right. Yeah, we got you. Yeah, okay. Yeah. You know, they're going to go, yeah, that's nice. You still owe us $200. So, yeah. Anyways, I don't know, but that's really, I mean, man, that's been consuming me a lot. And I've been, you know, trying to distract myself with music and watching hockey and different stuff too. And yeah, I'm realizing I'm doing less. Like over the last couple months, I'm doing less. I'm not really going out a lot. You know, I mean, man, it was months between the last time me and Jeannie hung out. We finally did that the other day, which was nice. You know, we had a good time. I hadn't seen Jen in months, you know, so that was, you know, we had fun hanging out the other night, even though, you know, topics were heavy because, you know, Jen was talking about her dad and, you know, she's talking about that, which, you know, we're all listening because we're friends, and, you know, but also I'm sitting there going, oh, I don't know how much I can fit into my cup, you know, because every time someone talks about, like, she talks about that, I'm immediately thinking of the grief I'm still processing with my mom, you know, and yeah, but so anywho, yeah, you know, it's like, I definitely have found at least that there's been a lot of nights that listening to music is very helpful. And, you know, especially when I put on my, you know, the stuff from my high school days, which is really funny because I was in a like really bad depression when that music was what I was fully listening to. And you wouldn't think that would be my comfort music. You would think that would be the music that I'd be like, ooh, this reminds me of a bad time. And it does. But also I'm like, you know, give me all of this.
But it's an old friend.
It is though, right? Yeah.
It's an old friend.
It really is though. I was listening.
It's a comfort zone.
I was listening to a Spotify channel the other night that was all, what was it? 95 through I think like 2001 or 2 music, you know? And I was like, man, there's all sorts. I mean, but I was hearing stuff like Sponge and Tonic and, you know, Bush was, you know, like just all these bands, and Weezer came on, and I was like, you know what? This is the band I need to listen to right now, because some of those albums are so lighthearted and fun that it's hard to kind of be down when you're listening to like the Blue Album, you know?
It's also hard to be down listening to Cake.
Yeah.
You know
True.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's just some bands where
Yep.
you're like,
Cake's a great band for not feeling that way.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Primus.
Yep, Primus, you're right. Yeah.
I mean, you know,
Yeah.
another
Because it's
band. Hard to be depressed.
yeah, it's hard to be depressed because they're just, you can tell it's like they're just having, it's just fun music, you know? So it's like I look for
goofy.
that. But, you know, at the same time, there's also that element of, you know, listening to Chris Cornell belting out Black Hole Sun that just, you know, you're like, yeah, sing it, Chris, you know, kind of thing. Like, that's what I'm talking about. God, what was the other? There was a song. Oh, was it Blow Up the Outside World? That was the one. It came on, and it was really funny because it reminded me of when that song came out. I didn't love it, and now when I hear it, I'm like, I really like this. like I think it's just I have an ever growing appreciation for Chris Cornell's writing and singing. You know, so yeah, that's what I've been trying to do, is using music as much as possible to change my mood, get me out of a funk that I might be in, you know, because there is, and it's funny because I'm not one, for the most part, I'm not one of those people that, like, I don't do playlists like my own, like, ever. I've always been one that, like, when I used iTunes, I would just pull up iTunes most of the time and like, oh, I want to listen to this album or band, or I would just hit shuffle on my whole library. So, you know, it might be Wu-Tang and then Frank Sinatra, you know, like, you know, it could be, who knows what's going to pop up here. And with Spotify, I usually will just kind of scroll through, like, they have pre-made playlists, and I just look at the bands real quick and be like, you know what? Yeah, Weezer and Jimmy Eat World are the bands I need to listen to right now. Jimmy Eat World was another one, that one album, was it Bleed American or whatever, that album that has the middle on it and stuff. That album is pretty good. And another band I can always go to lift my spirits is Bare Naked Ladies. Like, even though I love the Morose stuff that, I can't think of his name. The guy who's not in the band anymore. The stuff that he wrote, I love, you know, his writing. But then you get hit with, you know, 1 Week or, you know, some of the other songs where they're a little funnier and corny. And again, you start singing along at some point and you're like, oh, you know what? I don't feel bad anymore. I'm actually kind of enjoying whatever I'm doing at the moment. Like, you know, if I'm listing stuff on eBay, I'll put on music like that and just, excuse me, like I said, let it change my mood. I used to do the same thing with drawing back when I used, in high school and such. Was I'm like, what am I drawing? Am I drawing like soft things or am I drawing aggressive things? If I'm drawing aggressive things, let's cue up some Slayer or, But if I'm drawing like softer stuff, like I'm drawing flowers and all that, it's like, Slayer's not the right band for this. I need something that's gonna just give me. So I'm like, maybe I'll throw some blues on, or something a little softer. So, yeah, that's the only answer I've got at the moment. But again, listening to music isn't paying my bills, so it's helping me because it's definitely a therapy for me. But
well, yeah, because look what you're listening to. You're listening to music that made you feel something at some point,
which is good,
so,
right? Because I've always talked about
that's a good thing.
I know I'm at my deepest in depression when I'm apathetic. So if I can still put music on and feel, if I can still feel, first of all, it tells me my medicine's doing something. Like, it's keeping me from crashing all the way through the floor. And the other is, like you just said, feeling something is always better than feeling nothing.
Yep.
So, yeah, those are, my therapist also made sure I pointed that out to myself. I was like, you are still feeling things. This is good. And I was like, I know, but also, man, I was trying to think. There was something else I was going to bring up, and I don't know. I was like, nah, you know what? I'm just gonna completely dump on this episode, and we're gonna go back to old Brian, where I'm just moody and nah, not so much. I mean, I'm still laughing. I'm still, like there's still a lot of me there, but I feel like I'm so far away from the way I see me, like all the things I know of worth about myself and I don't mean idealistically, but just like this was me and this is not me anymore. And it's in the worst ways, like the spark and this and you see certain things that aren't there anymore, and you're like, this isn't who I want to be going forward. It's not who I want to be. But then it's like I don't know how to rekindle these things. And I've talked with people online, and a lot of people, sometimes you just fall into the spark. Like you're just, how it is, like with any sort of a creative process. You can be in the funk. You can be in a funk for the longest time and do something completely unrelated to the creative process, and something will click in your head, and you're like, oh, and then it's back on. Like a writer will do that, and now they go write a couple chapters or whatever. A musician can hear a sound maybe that's like, oh, that'd be cool with this, or or an artist sees this or that, and it's. I've read all sorts of things online of, how to find your spark again and how to find your inner child again and all those kind of things. Because I said a long time ago, remember when I was reading Rick Rubin's book, I talked about how he mentioned, like, kids, they do things fearlessly for the most part. They don't worry about who's going to say what afterward. They just do things because it sounds fun or it's whimsical or whatever, and that's where I struggle a lot. Also, I think I've been such a rule follower for so long that it's really hard sometimes for me to just drop it and be whimsical. Like, I've never been the type that all of a sudden I'm just going to start dancing. Like it's just never, ever, ever been me. The only way you're probably really going to get me dancing is I'm going to have some sort of a substance in my body. So, you know what I mean? So, like, stuff like that, I can't just let go. It's weird how I can sit and do podcasts and talk about almost anything in my life. I can talk about all sorts of topics, but I can't actually, I'm not that guy that just lets go. I can't. And it's not even the control thing. It's more of a just, I don't know how, like, so that doesn't help my cause either. So I was like, I need like a crazy woman to come into my life and just lead me on some crazy like Fear and Loathing Las Vegas kind of adventure. You know, like we can't stop here. It's backcountry, and you know, just stuff like that. You know, and just like then I'll be like, oh, okay, now I understand what's going on here. Like, this is way more fun. Let's do this. You know, till we end up jumping off a cliff like Thelma and Louise style or something. Like, well, at least it's not boring. I don't know. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It sucks because I'd really like to be like, oh, you know, there we go. I'll go with my wins for the week kind of thing. Is I've still been cooking, you know, enough. It's weird because I'm cooking for one, so I'm not cooking a lot because I cook, and then it's like, well, I have all this food now. You know, it's like I have 4 days worth of food here, so I don't need to cook again for the better part of the week. But I've been making sure that I'm getting good amount of as many vegetables and fruits as I can. I've been eating at least one salad a day, just to make sure that I'm getting that kind of stuff in me. And Tony took me to a place that's it's funny. It's not far, but it's not close either. It's a few minute drive from where we are on this side of town. And because I told him that on the one podcast, I was like, man, I've been craving a club sandwich. And he goes, I got a spot for you. I'm like, cool. And we go to this place called Harvest, which he's talked about on Salty Language before. We get out there, and I'm looking at the menu, and I'm seeing like 7-8 sandwiches I want to try, and I'm going, man, I wish I could get like a little sampler of each one, like one sandwich, but it's just made up of all these small pieces. And so I'm like, well, they have a club. I'm going to get the club. And dude, I got this sandwich. It's on just like a normal-ish size, like, a hamburger bun, not real small one, but like you'd get at a place for like almost like a Whopper size bun or something, but probably not that big. And it was, I think they make the bread. They do a lot of the stuff like as from scratch as possible. And, traditional stuff on it, mayo, lettuce, tomato, cheese, 3 meats. And, but it was friggin' stacked. Like so much meat on this thing. And it was so good that we're sitting there and I'm like, I'm going to get another sandwich to go home. So I went over and got another sandwich to take home with me. But it's like, I really like the other sandwich that I got home was a different type. And it was funny because I was sitting there eating it and I was just really kind of taking my time on it. And it took me back to the Angela's Awesome podcast where you guys talked about eating and how you should, TV off, phone down, chew your food and enjoy the experience, basically, live in that moment kind of a thing. And I realized I was doing that with this second sandwich and really, really enjoying it. And I'm sitting here by myself, which is fine, right? Like I've always been fine with doing stuff by myself, aside from the fact I don't drive, Otherwise, I would probably do all sorts. I wouldn't care about seeing a movie by myself or going to the bar and having a drink. I'm going to have a drink and talk with whoever sits here. Eventually I'd talk to them. So, take me a couple beers, but then I'll be all right. But it was still kind of cool that it was like I'm sitting here by myself, but I'm still enjoying this experience that was brought to me because I went out with my friends. It's something that I keep having, having agoraphobia. You have to keep reminding yourself that not only is there threats outside, there's rewards outside, and that was one of them. It was like I said, I was sitting there eating that sandwich, just really enjoying the moment and going, you know what, like this is all right. Like I'm doing okay in this moment, like big, life issues aside, but I was able to kind of still take that step aside and do that. And like I said, I thought about when you guys were talking about that and I was like, yeah, this is, it is really nice when you can do that, and we're so kind of counter trained to that now. Like people sit at their desks and eat. Like they don't, hey, I'm going to go sit outside and eat, or I'm going to go in my car, or I'm going to not be in the work building for 20 minutes while I eat my sandwich, because I just want to have that time as mine type of thing, So I encourage anyone listening to do something like that. If you have the ability, take your sandwich outside and eat it. Sit on your front porch and eat your sandwich instead of eating it inside with the TV on. Just go outside and enjoy part of the day and whatever, because it's a nice recharge. And I think we're all very much forgetting how important those things are. The touching grass thing is really, I'm seeing so many people talking about that more and more now, putting the phone down and getting outside and taking a walk, or, whatever it is. And I think that's kind of what that was the other day. It was just me recovering from the social hangover a little bit, but also, just going, because of my friends, I was introduced to this really good sandwich, which I'm enjoying right now in this moment, so it's one of those that, one thing begat another and whatever. So, yeah. Anyway, so that's my win for the week is that I am still trying things. I'm not completely staying home all the time. I am trying to still force myself out into the world because, isolation's no good.
No, and like I had a weird thing happen after I got back from vacation. I took the dogs for a walk down by the river. And because we did so much outdoorsy things, like every time we were out with Joseph, we were looking for birds, something I've never done before.
Oh, okay.
There was cool stuff to see, so it was worth looking for, right?
Sure.
So when I was a lot more in tune with my surroundings because there was stuff to see, so I was looking for it. Well, took the dogs down the river, and I was walking by, and all of a sudden I noticed myself saw the river differently. Now the river hasn't changed.
Yeah, right.
River's still the river.
Yeah, right.
Same trees, same everything.
Yeah, it might be
Nothing
a little
had changed
different
in a
level
month,
than a
except
month ago or whatever, but it's still the river. Yeah.
it was still lack of, leaves on the trees.
Yeah.
Still, still early. My perspective had changed. And I noticed it right away. I was like, oh, wow, I'm seeing this differently. Right? Because I kind of trained myself for a week to look at the world differently.
Right.
And it's just a realization of like, actually that simple.
Yeah. And it definitely helps when you're not in the same environment.
It's just that simple.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It is, though, because like a friend of mine that's a doctor has told me various times that she goes, anything you've learned, you can unlearn, like behavior-wise. She's like, but you have to train yourself on the new behavior.
Yep.
And she's like, so if, like you were saying, like, okay, I don't want to do this when I'm out on my walks. I want to, like Tony, talked about, like, when he had to focus on the leash and really holding on to his dog, like on his walks versus now he's got that like belt leash or whatever. So now he kind of keeps his head up more because he's not on his phone the whole time, and he's deliberately seeing his surroundings, paying attention to what's going on out there. And like, but we have to keep practicing it for it to stay a behavior of ours. Otherwise we're likely to, go back to old habit. So, and it definitely helps. Like I said, in your case, like being in a different environment definitely helps because there's things to see that you haven't seen, but there's no reason that you can't bring that mentality back with you. Right? It doesn't have to stay there.
And I didn't even know I was doing it.
Right. Because you're learning that behavior. Yeah. So that's what it is with a lot of it.
So it made me stop and look around. And that's that idea with the whole, like what we talked about is like when you sit down to eat, focus on your food.
Yeah.
So maybe, like for me, if I'm going to be outdoors with the dogs, I'm tending to focus on them a lot.
Sure, yeah.
And, because I'm throwing the stick around or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I also need to stop and, actually pay attention to where I just walked.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not just a blur,
Yeah, because you really don't know
business as usual.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, especially, I go back to like talking about the creative process too, it's like you never know where, you'll see something that, especially more so visual artists than, but you never know, I mean, think of how many songs talking about nature or talking about this, that had to have been inspired somewhere. And a lot of times we'll be like, yeah, I was staying at this cabin. It had this beautiful view of blah, blah, blah. And, and you're like, it's like, so I wrote a song about it, and it's like, yeah, right. It makes sense. But if our heads are down all the time, it's like, man, I don't, there's not tons of songs about like staring at the sidewalk, There's a few, Green Day's got
staring
one.
at a screen.
Yeah, or staring at a screen, yeah. So, yeah, it's that's the best thing I can try to do going forward, right? And I had somebody mention to me that the way that they found to really combat things is to stack things, right? So if there's one thing you really like and another thing you really like, can you combine them? Like go for a walk, right? Cool. I really enjoy going for a walk. I also really enjoy music. Well, you can listen to music on a walk. There's no reason you can't if you don't want to. You couldn't, you could not and just listen to, nature or whatever happens to be around you at the time, to really focus on being in the moment, because you're, using your senses. But and I was like, oh, that's actually not a bad idea, though, is that, because if you do stack things, right, it's like, feels like if you stack multiple things that make you happy, or improve your mood, there's a better chance of one of those things working, or all of them working, however. But yeah. So that's why I say it's like I got some stuff to try as far as the my mood, but it doesn't solve it solves the local issues, but it doesn't solve the global issue, for within my own world. I'm not talking actual global, but I can solve kind of the now problem, but I can't. And it isn't even that I have to solve the other. It's just I need a strategy, so that I feel like I'm not just stumbling around, like, okay, at least let's try this. And, if that doesn't seem to be working, we'll, take a step back and figure it out. But anyway, so let's, you had like a topic kind of thing. Let's do that, because I feel like I just want to shift the vibe before we're done.
Well, and we can actually call it just like the kind of almost like our little closing quote in a way.
Yeah,
it's something to think about. I'm just gonna we'll post this link, but I'm just gonna read this paragraph about it. 5 undeniable truths about people and why they matter. There are 5 undeniable truths about human existence. First, no one was born wearing clothes. Second, someone took care of us and clothed us in some fashion or another when we were babies. Third, pain and joy have universal psychological effects. Fourth, someone assisted us morally, economically, spiritually, and relationally in order for us to arrive at this moment. Fifth, every human being has blood that runs in their veins. There's no exceptions. If these phenomena are true, it is possible that you are never alone. You just have to give well-meaning people a chance to show you kindness.
Yes. I agree on that. That especially, that's good. Yeah.
It goes into an experiment that was done where, some scientists dropped stamped envelopes around town, and the vast majority of them all ended up at their destination, proving that people are actually nice.
Yeah, I think people are. I really do. I think the problem is that since the ones that aren't have been given more voice now, we're noticing it more, is all it is, because they're louder. Kind people generally aren't as loud. They usually do things without needing, the validation or that kind of thing. Don't get me wrong. There's plenty of people do good things and want all the validation, but that's. I think in general, though, kindness usually is done at a lower decibel than hatred. So I think a lot of us are falling into that, and people are buying into that everybody's evil and out to get them and all this, and it's, there's truth in it, but it's not. I don't think it's on the scale that everyone thinks it is.
Like, one of the things this article starts with is the idea of, like, you might be the type of person that says, "How are you? It's good to see you. How can I help you?"
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't feel that coming back at you,
yeah,
then you might start to feel like you're alone. And, it kind of goes into a little bit about what's going on in the world. The whole point of this is that, it is important to know that you are never alone.
Yeah.
Everyone you meet, whether virtually or physically, could be a potential help if you pay attention to the environment and circumstances that brought the two of you together.
Yeah.
And that nobody is an island. We all share these 5 fundamental things.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Those are all,
like, no matter what, we got these 5 things.
Mm-hmm.
And the closing on this is, if you're feeling alone, it's simply a sign that you are not paying attention to what is happening around you. Whenever you feel you are alone, remind yourself that you were born unclothed, just like everyone else. Someone cared for you, just like everyone else was cared for.
Yeah.
Pain and joy are universal constructs that unite everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody makes it alone. Nobody. Everyone has help.
Yep.
And blood is what binds all humankind together to stay alive and well.
Yep.
So, therefore, to cure the feeling of aloneness, reach out and connect with people for support, because people are generally kind when you reach out to the right people at the right time.
Yeah, and like I said a little while ago,
we have life coaches and stuff.
Isolation is a bad thing. It's a real problem, and it bothers me. I keep seeing more and more people talking about, like, I'm not putting myself out there for dating purposes. I'm not blah blah blah. I'm just, content coming home and this and that. And it's like, I get it, but it's so bad. Like, I get it. We all need, like, sometimes to recharge. And I can understand where, there's some people that have thinking of being in a committed relationship, but we sleep in different houses or different bedrooms, or, like, I can totally even understand those things to where you still want some semblance of control in your situation, but humans are social, like, by nature. That's what we are. We all want to fit in. We all want to talk to people, all this stuff. And it's like, and a lot of times, I've seen a lot of people that talk about how awful small talk is and how they can't stand it. And in my head, I'm going, yeah, it's just because you haven't found the person to small talk with you about things that you small talk about. We all small talk, and a lot of times it comes down to communication styles, or, neurotypical versus, neurospicy people, because, sometimes, like, I want to tell you about my new fidget spinner and you don't care about my new fidget spinner at all. But, so it's a chore for you to listen to it, but also it's like, I think a lot of people have kind of lost the ability to carry a conversation because of how the phones have interacted in our lives. You used to have to answer the phone and talk to somebody. Now we don't have to. We can text with people all day and never actually talk to a person. Like, picture if you worked from home and didn't do phone work and you could text with somebody all day. You could literally not actually interact with a person all day. Now, I have to go to this thing at my friend's house, or they're throwing a party and I'm there, and this small talk is so great. And it's like, yeah, because you're also not practicing it. Right? It's like, there's a lot of things in this that I think come from those things, and I don't think they're good for us. Isolation, individualism over, being part of the, community, I don't think are good things. And I think there's too many people actively trying to push themselves that way, and in the end, I'm always just like, I always just call BS on it, because I just don't buy into it. There's people that, yes, that will be the better lifestyle for them probably, but I don't think it is for most of us. You know.
Look, you can sit down and work on music now using AI and write some cool stuff and be very satisfied.
Mhm.
And maybe you had some idea, but you just couldn't quite figure out how to get it forward, and it gets your idea forward.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
I think it's really great, especially when you have something in your head. But I'll tell you, the magic of the reason that I love to get together with my buddies in these bands,
Mhm.
hanging out together,
Yeah.
doing something together.
Yep.
It, yes, it's we clearly bring our talents to this too,
Yeah.
but it's more than just that. It's actually being around people and doing something together in harmony.
Yeah.
And especially when you consider most of us who are, you know, the we were all the people that a minute they said, "Hey, let's all get together in groups and work together in school," we were like,
Yes.
I hate everybody."
100%. I was one of them.
And here we are working, and guess what? Here we are working together.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's better.
It is.
I'm sorry,
Well,
but it's
You
better.
know, and it's funny because of how it applies in ways too. Because like, I was talking about doing things on your own and whatnot, and it was like, I've heard people like, refer to, because they were showing Coachella on, I think it was YouTube, was also broadcasting it, and people were, the hashtag online was Couchella, which makes sense because people are watching from their couch, right? And I saw a few people that are like, this is so much better than blah. And I get it. There's for sure significant downsides to going to festivals, the bathroom situations and a whole lot of things like that. And I get it. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know, man. Even if I was sitting in a room with 10 friends and we were watching Coachella, I'm not going to have 1/10 of the feeling as if I was standing there while that same act was playing, right? Because that crowd, like I said earlier, it's that whole vibe that we're all here for this. We all want to hear this song. We want to, we all just want to be in the moment and enjoy ourselves here. And sitting on my couch just doesn't do the same thing. Now with movies, it's the opposite. Because I actually would prefer to sit at home because, I don't like how people won't stay off their phones and won't shut up in the movie. I actually would prefer to sit and watch the movie. But the second the movie's over, the first thing I want to do generally is talk about the movie.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
If you sit down and watch Coachella, and I sit down and watch Coachella,
Mm-hmm.
because you said, "Hey, what are you doing tonight?" "Oh, I'm watching this." "Oh, I'm watching that too."
Yeah.
Guess what we could talk about tomorrow night?
Yeah, exactly.
With each other.
Yep.
We can share. "Hey, did you see this movie yet?" It's like you ain't having that conversation with the AI.
Yeah.
And it saddens me that people are sitting there having conversations with AI rather than actual human beings about even dumb stuff.
Yeah.
Like how the blood flows through our veins equally.
Yes, exactly.
And how Brian was actually born in a hoodie with a full beard
Yes.
and glasses.
Yes.
Just a smaller version of him.
Yeah. My
He's
mom
the
said
one
the glasses
exception.
was the worst part.
Yeah.
She said that was very unpleasant. Me and my dang, rectangle frames.
So the number one and number two, where somebody actually helped you get clothes. Now you just came out that way.
Yeah.
You were a little pre-baked.
Yeah. I just, I don't even know where the clothes came from while I was inside there, but it happened. I don't know what my mom was eating.
I think it was on the way out.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
It was like, like an assembly line.
Yeah.
As you went past, they here's
Yeah.
your glasses.
Yep.
Here's your beard.
Yep.
Here's your hoodie.
You're probably right. That is probably
Now,
more what happened.
No, but you got to keep free balling.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just shirt junking it.
Yeah. Look at me. I'm Winnie the Pooh. Yeah. Exactly.
Like,
Right.
all I'm thinking about is that scene from Deadpool now.
Oh.
You're just going to get up and walk right at it.
Yeah.
You just don't even care, do you?
Nope.
Like, nope.
Nope.
Go, Bella, go. You got it.
Yep.
Look at him go.
Love that. Look at him go.
I am so disturbed.
Yeah, aren't we all? That's all right.
So watch Deadpool 2 tonight.
Yeah. I should watch those again. I haven't watched them. in a while.
Universal Truths
Yeah. And you know, I love
we're
the
talking about.
yeah, just real quick before we wrap up here is like I really love the idea of that because like I said to you before we recorded, it was like I love the idea that it allows you to kind of take a step back out of the way a lot of us think and really go, you know, again, as people, we have so much more in common than we do differences. And most of our differences
Exactly.
are just slight turns of the dial from the other person. They're not even drastic ones. Like, even if you don't like the same genre of music as somebody, you can still like certain things about music that the other person likes or whatever, you know? So it's like, you know, gatekeeping of things is garbage. You know, having guilty pleasures really is silly, you know? Enjoy it, scream it from the rooftops. If you want to, you know, go
It should be
sing
a pleasure.
yeah, if Heno wants to sing Olivia
good with it.
Rodrigo on his way home from work, scream it at the top of your lungs, dude. Because I think that's what we're missing
You
from
know it.
music. That we had, you know, I had the grunge era. Then there was the emo stuff afterwards that were literally the songs that you could belt at the top of your lungs in the car on the way home, you know. And I was like, I don't think music today has as much of that. Where it feels like you just gotta sing that whole, you know, occasionally a song will come along, but you don't hear as much of it. Like, I don't know where all the emo kids went to after emo went away. You know, like, I don't know what, like, I can't scream some of this stuff I've heard. And I'm talking rock music too, not just the pop music. There's not the ballads. Well, there's a lot of ballads in rock music now. There's a lot of ballads around. But, you know, anywho. Yeah, but yeah, find your song, scream it at the top of your lungs in the car, the shower, house, wherever. Probably not at work. They may not appreciate it, but wherever, you know. Because it's amazing, isn't it? Like when your song comes on the radio and you're like, oh, you got to turn that up, or you're listening to whatever playlist and that one song comes on and you're like, okay, let's go. In the Garage comes on for me by Weezer. That's my song, dude. I'm going to crank it, and I'm singing that whole song with it because that song was the first Weezer song I ever identified with. So, you know, we've all got something. So, yeah, find yours and crank it. Also listen to music.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. I guess with that, if you want to continue the conversation with us, the easiest place to contact us is on Twitter at the. Man, I almost. Jeez, I was at @thesalty_language. I'm gonna kind of mush them
Excellent.
together. You know, that's what I should do. Just make
Excellent.
one where everything filters through. It'd be nice and easy for me. At the Crazy Life Pod, I post when new episodes go up there. So if you want to tweet at us, you know, have at it. We're also, I don't know. Let's see. The network's gone. I think Facebook I think our Facebook group is still up there, but I don't know what's going on with Facebook groups. But facebook.com/groups/Crazy Life Podcast if you want to come join that. I feel like no. I don't know. How about you, Heno? How can they reach you?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter and what's that, Blue Sky, and I think I did a recent search. So pretty much Ida Heno on everything except
Okay.
Instagram, where I'm just Slivo, and I couldn't change it.
Yeah.
Somebody else has Ida Heno already, and I'm like,
Really?
who is this person? Yeah, I need to go hunt them down.
I was just gonna say Highlander rules, Heno.
Yeah,
Yep.
it
It's like
does.
whenever
So,
I'll go to type in Stunami on a new platform and it's like already taken. I'm like, man, I was like, come on now. I was like, I've had this handle since like, geez, I don't even know, 93, 94. No, it's probably after that. It's probably like
but
96.
if you go to my, you can look me up on Instagram and Facebook as Heno Hider, and you can see me hanging out with monkeys
Yeah, and you should.
and
There's
big fish
all sorts of good. Yeah,
and
right.
sharks. Swam with sharks.
Yeah, you were like, I can deal with the idea of a small shark near me, But anything other than a small
They were
shark,
huge.
yeah, nope. You could tell me about
When
it
I
when you
jumped
got
in the
back
water,
on
I
shore.
bounced off of him.
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah. Like I bounced off him in the water.
Heno,
That guy didn't pay me any mind whatsoever.
Haven't you seen the award-winning film Deep Blue Sea? No, thought I was going to say Jaws. Deepest, bluest. My hat's like a shark fin.
That's up. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't know why sharks creep me out big time. Like I don't even like seeing them on TV. They creep me out. I'm amazed by them
These guys are pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm amazed by them as a, concept. But nah,
These
we
guys
good.
were pretty cool.
Hey, you want to go on the boat with us? There's sharks in the water. I'm like, nope. You can tell me all about it when you guys get back.
Good luck with that.
I'm gonna go sip a Mai Tai over here.
Yeah, you send me some photos.
Yep. All right. Well, you can find me on various socials at Stunami, unless I'm not on there, or there might be one or two where I'm not on there under Stunami, but whatever. The ones I'm on the most are at Stunami. My other podcast can be found at salty_language on Twitter or at saltylanguage.com. It's me and my best friend just talking about whatever we talk about. We talked about a lot of like the TV shows we've been watching, and I've been watching. He talked about some movies this week, and we talked about AI art and small businesses, and what else here? Oh, he made a Cuban roast, which was phenomenal. But yeah, and then we just talked about like TV shows like The Boys and the new Mall show on Disney Plus and that kind of stuff. So if you're into that, give us a listen, please. And I guess with that, please reach out if you need help. Please, check in on your friends, especially if you haven't talked to them in a while, or they're going through something. Just make sure they know. Like we said a little bit ago, you're not alone. Like whatever it is a person's going through, usually we can sympathize, or there's help out there, or a group or something, so you don't feel alone. And then, as always, please be kind to one another. As soon as I said it, I started to want to, be excellent to each other.
Yes, be excellent with each other.
Yeah.
Party on Wayne. Party on Garth.
Oh man, but yeah, please be kind to one another. And again, just I really feel like it's like radical kindness is what we need more and more and more of. People just being nice to be nice, and just to turn the volume up on being kind to kind of counter how a lot of people are being jerks right now, so please lead with kindness. But also, what was it? It's like, be kind, but suffer no fools, basically. But learn the difference between kindness and niceness. Because there's, big gap there. But anyways, please be kind with others. Help people when you can, if you can. And, all right. You want to take us out of here, Hanno?
Be kind and realize that none of us together have to worry about yesterday's pizza.
That's right.